Hey everybody, I'm offering a new service for a limited time only, and that is what I call a SAT audit or free SAT audit. And what this is basically you send me your score report, and I will make a video for you and you alone, it's only for your eyes only, that will basically go through the score report and show you what the score report tells us, like what we can learn from it. So, and then what you want to do to improve on your next SAT. Because we can learn a lot if you look really close at the details of the score report, even the most basic one, not even looking at the, answer service. We can learn a lot just from these score reports. So what I do is basically the way it works is go ahead, go to the College Board website, go to your student center and download your score report. You can do it as a PDF and then send the score report to me at this email, rob@recentprep.com. And also let me know in the email what your score goals are, because what your goals are really impact my interpretation of the report, based on the advice I'm going to give you. So go ahead and do that. This is a limited time offer. This is not something I am necessarily going to do forever. I'm just going to see how it goes, see how the workload is for me, and see how valuable it is for you. But it's definitely something I want to try. So go ahead, send me your SAT score report. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, it's totally anonymous. It's posted on YouTube, but it's unlisted. So you only have the link, only you will see it, and I won't use your name or anything in the video anyway, so even if it did get out, it doesn't matter because no one will know who you are. So that's the offer, so let me know if you're interested. Go ahead and send me an email. Let me show you what this will look like. So I've taken someone's score report here, and I'm going to go through an analysis of it so you can see kind of what the process looks like. Now, notice what I say for the tests will depend on the scores, so this one was particularly lower than some of the scores I've gotten before, so the advice I give to this person is going to be very different than the advice I'm going to give to someone who's in the 600s, right? But nonetheless, regardless of where you are, the point of this is to show you what this interpretation, what this analysis will look like. So what I'm looking for when I'm doing this this audit is two things. First is the breakdown of the question types and how you did on those, and the second is the breakdown of the easy, medium, and difficult. So let's look at each of the sections on the whole, and then we'll break down each individual section. So for the reading, so the first thing I notice is that there are quite a few sentence completions wrong. There's probably a little bit room for growth here, particularly in the mediums. But actually, I'm not super concerned about the sentence completions for this score range. I'm assuming this person wants like a 600. For 600, sentence completions are not super critical. What's really important, however, is going to be these questions right here, the 20 passage-based reading. And this is where your points lie. This is where you're going to want to study. And use your effort. Because think of it this way. Half of these 12 questions are going to be hard questions that are going to have hard vocab that even if you studied thousands of words, you may still not be able to get. Instead of spending that time doing that, if you spent that time working on passage-based reading questions, you've got 20 points here that you can improve on. Right? So that's just the first thing I've noticed just from this first breakdown. Let's look at the math. So the first thing in the math that's good, there's no omits. That's good for someone going for 700, I should say, but maybe not so good for this person. Again, it depends on their goals. Let's assume they're going for like a 650. You actually might want to omit a few of the hards and spend most of your time on the questions before them, because if you try to do every single question, you're spreading yourself really thin. If you're going for a 600, 650, you actually do want to omit a few hards here and there so you can maximize the time that you do spend. And just right off the top, it looks like a pretty even distribution of wrongs. We'll get into the details of the different topics when we go to the math section breakdown, so I'll talk about that more in a second. For the writing, the essay is an 8, which for this score level is actually a very good score. I'm not at all worried about the essay at this point. If this person, say, wants to get a 600, the essay doesn't really factor into it, especially if you're getting an 8. That's a solid score. What really matters here is the questions. And the first thing I noticed right off the top is the improving sentences are the challenging ones. Actually did pretty well on the error IDs, which is strange because usually it's kind of the opposite. Students tend to struggle more with the error IDs than the improving sentences. But nonetheless, interesting. That could be an area that we definitely want to focus on. So let's go ahead and break down each of the sections in some more depth. So the first thing I noticed, like I mentioned before, for your sentence completions, there is a place where we can do a little bit more work, grab a few more points, maybe try to get this up to 10 right. And then what I would definitely suggest this person do is, instead of trying the hards, definitely increase the omits in your hard sentence completions. Because if you're going for a 600, you don't really need to worry about the hard sentence completions at all. And if you're trying them and getting them wrong, you're just hurting your score because of the -1/4 penalty. So for the sentence completions, try to push a bit harder on the mediums, pull back on the hards, do fewer hards, omit more, especially the ones you can't eliminate any choices, and that alone should gain you some points. But then, like I said, most of the bulk of the points are going to be in the passage-based reading, and notice, boom, right there, your medium passage-based reading questions. That is where your points are. That's where your 600 is. It's in those medium questions, those medium passages. Because notice the easies went well, perfect, just one wrong. I mean, obviously we'd like 0 wrong, but one isn't horrible. And then the hards, yeah, we got 5 out of the 7 wrong, but they're hards, and for 600, not super worried about them. What I'm worried about are the medium questions. That's where the time has got to be spent. So you can learn a lot more about how to tackle all these things in the Critical Reading Bootcamp. So I would go ahead and check that out if I were this person. For the math, so we got a 550. Let's assume we want a 650. Let's look at each of the sections of questions. So numbers and operations. These are like your arithmetic questions. Things about integers and digits and prime numbers and consecutive numbers and sets and things like that. Stuff that you don't really see very often in your math classes, like especially if you're in an advanced math class, if you're in pre-calc or calc, you're not really dealing with these kinds of questions. And that's where students can struggle sometimes, if they're not used to them. I mean, see right here, we got 2 easies wrong. Not really ideal at all, especially if we're going for 650. So that would be an area that I would ask the student to definitely brush up on. You can get a lot more info on all of this in the Math Tactics series, especially because these are questions that once you learn what the SAT is asking, they're pretty easy. You just got to kind of brush up on some of the terminology and then understand how and why they're asking certain questions. So definitely that's an area of concern. The other 2 big areas are your algebra and your geometry, and that's where the bulk of the math questions are. And you can see we got 5 wrong here and 6 wrong here. So the student should definitely work on those 2 areas. In particular, the geometry, I think, is the area that needs the most help. And we got 6 of the 15 wrong here, whereas we got 5 of the 20 wrong here. So I would definitely say focus a lot on the geometry, then on the algebra. The statistics stuff isn't too bad. I mean, it'd be interesting to see which one this one was that we got wrong in the mediums, but that doesn't concern me. The statistics stuff, it looks okay. So for this person, it's definitely about getting fewer wrong, obviously, but making sure they do better on especially those easy ones. And then on the medium algebra and geometry, those are an area. So if the person just got these 2 easies, this medium, and these mediums, they'd be in their 600 range, where exactly where they want to be. So we're not asking for a lot to get to that next level, but it is about focused practice, which is why the Tactics series, I think, will really help. Let's look at the writing. So again, the essay is an 8. Not going to say much more about that until the student's scoring out of the 600s. Then we can start worrying about it. For now, an 8 is a perfectly fine score. Again, the main issue here was our improving sentences. Boom, there it is, especially our 7 easy and medium improving sentences. Those are very gettable. Once you know the rules, once you know the patterns, they're very gettable. I mean, this student has got a really great chance to improve just based on that alone. The hards, yeah, they're hard, and maybe we can improve on them, but I'm not super concerned about them right now. I'm concerned about the mediums and the easy improving sentences. So, again, refer you to the Grammar Tactics series. That's going to give you the rules and the info you need to do well. Error IDs look okay. Obviously, we'd like to get those 3 error IDs, but this isn't, obviously, when we study for these, we're going to be kind of studying for these at the same time, so it works out. So I would spend, obviously, you want to study both parts, but focus first on the improving sentences. Get those down, improve that. Make sure you're getting, 2 or 3 or 4 wrong instead of 12 wrong. Then, once you get to that point, see how you're doing in the error IDs, then focus on them, and that alone should take you up. Like the writing section, once you learn the rules and the patterns, and you kind of see how the test repeats itself again and again, it becomes really, really straightforward. So I have a lot of confidence that the student can definitely bump the score up at least 100 points, if not more, than 150 points or 200 points, whatever it might be. It's just about focused practice, and that's where the Grammar Tactics series comes in. Okay, so that's what a SAT audit looks like. So if you send me your score report, I will give you the same exact breakdown of your scores and give you targeted advice to help you out. For more information about my site overall, go to reasonprep.com, obviously. And then also for the video series I mentioned here, you can find them there. Also check out reasonprep.com/enroll. That's where you're going to get access to everything that I have on my website that will help you get to the next level on your SAT. So let me know if you have any questions, and I hope to see your score reports in my inbox as soon as possible. All right, talk to you later.